Well, if you've been watching or at least keep paying attention to the news for the past 24 hours, you know Donald Trump's actually gone ahead with these tariffs. Now, I thought this time maybe we would see what happened last time. Because last time it was just a tariff on steel. And that was it. And I was thinking maybe someone in the administration is gonna like jangle their keys and distract Trump and then get him to like just target like maybe cars or something. But it wouldn't be what we have seen, which is a straight flat tariff, right? A straight flat tariff on China, Mexico, and Canada across the board. Like these tariffs that Trump has done across the board pretty much apply to just about everything. And Trump is not finished yet. Because if you saw his crazy speech, he wants to put even more tariffs on, So he put 10% on China, which he has said he is going to ramp up to do, I don't know. Meanwhile, Canada and Mexico, well, you're 25%. Like, you're 25%. However, except Canadian oil, which is 10%. I generally thought he would not go through with this. I thought someone would be jangling the keys and distract him and maybe like tariff like one or two things, but it wouldn't be this blanket tariffs. And it gets slightly worse because not only has he, of course, gone ahead and done this, but now next week potentially, not only are we going to see more tariffs on different goods. So he's talking about putting a tariff on pharmaceutical products. That's going to make American drug prices skyrocket because of that. So, good on you there, Trump, for doing that. But oh boy, we are expecting next week tariffs on the EU. Not only that, but he's talked about sanctioning BRIC countries as well. And of course, he's signaled out 10 countries aren't even in BRICS. So we are genuinely seriously looking at a full-blown trade war about to kick off. Like, this is a full-blown trade war about to kick off. And what's worse of this is that Trump was asked in like this interview, why are you doing this? Like, what is your objective in doing this? And before I've said, look, Trump's whole big negotiating tactic is I will make the most extreme demand I can, but in reality I want this. And so people arguing him, negotiate him down to essentially what he wants. Now, I've always said that's a bit of a problem because what if someone says no? We're seeing this at the moment with Denmark saying, I'm going to buy Greenland. And Denmark's turned around and said, no, you're not. We're not. It's not for sale. Now, he's also threatened tariffs on Denmark as well. So next week, we may not only just see tariffs on the EU, but Denmark. Oh boy, you may suddenly find yourself, you might have like a whole heap of tariffs on yourself tomorrow. Well, possibly at some point next week. So, yeah. And bear in mind, this is going to massively negatively affect not only America's economy, but these other economies as well. Like, we've already hearing stories that apparently on Monday, there's a lot of people expected to walk into work into some companies and get fired. Like, that is how bad some of these things, and not just, bear in mind, in Canada and Mexico, bear in mind, in the US as well, because that is how hard some of these tariffs at this, like, across the board tariff is going to work. Like, that's how bad it is going to be. So expect probably at some point next week to see the job losses hitting. So that'll be something to see as well. But not only that, Taiwan, like one of the most important US allies in the Asia Pacific, Trump has gone, yeah, we're going to tariff microchips. Taiwan's like, what? So that's not going to be good for Taiwan's economy. And of course, what is meant to be a big US ally in that area. We know that Trump also next week at some point is going to be having talks with Japan, which I'm not going to lie, might lead to tariffs. So good luck, Japan, on that. Meanwhile, of course, like I say, the whole rumor is next week at some point we're probably going to see tariffs in the EU at some point. We don't know if the UK is going to get hit as well next week. I somehow expect we will. Like, I'm really expecting somehow next week we probably will at some point, or we'll somehow get included in all these like EU tariffs as well. Yeah, he's gone ahead and done it. And I've been following a lot. I've been following a lot of economists on, on the Twitter and the Blue Sky. And oh my word, doom scrolling doesn't even begin to describe what some of these people are saying. They are all talking about the Trump crash. Like, a lot of these people and the economists online, they're all talking about a crash happening now because of this. And we saw it back in 2008. If America's economy crashes or hits a brick wall, well, so too does the rest of the world. So too does the rest of the world. That's not good. That is not good. So I don't know what is going to happen into the rest of the week, because we've been asking questions for a while now. Is Trump actually serious? If Denmark keeps on saying, no, Greenland's not for sale, is he going to go ahead with invasion? He might very well do, because of all these tariffs, it sort of got buried underneath that Trump has basically committed to a military invasion of Panama. And we have Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, basically saying not only does he want to order airstrikes in Mexico, but also put boots on the ground, US special forces, into dealing with these cartels. At that point, that is war with Mexico. Doesn't matter that it's against like drug cartels. Like, that is straight up war with Mexico and Panama. So is Trump serious about Greenland? We'll find out, unfortunately, very quickly. All I can say is those French troops better hurry up and get over into Greenland as fast as they can, because it looks like Trump's serious. And that is even just barely scratching the surface, because a ton of stuff has come out of what's going on in America in the past like 24 hours. That's not even some of the stuff that Elon Musk is doing in Doge. And that stuff, oh boy. um, I'll tell you now, I feel sorry if you are a civil servant in America. I feel sorry for you. You have my deepest sympathies of what you are going to go through, and expect to hear some absolute horror stories of American civil servants and what they're going to go through, and some of the stuff that is going to happen with them over the next couple of years. But all I can say is, so far, good on Canada and Mexico for standing up to Trump. Like, Canada has basically just turned around and said, okay, we're going to tariff you back dollar for dollar. Like, good on Canada for saying that. And not only that, but their potential, I think, next PM has said that. Carney, I think he's like probably, I think, the leading runner for this. This is what he said apparently on Newsnight. He said, President Trump thinks that Canada will cave in, but we are going to stand up to a bully. We are not going to back down. We are united and we will retaliate. He said these tariffs are going to damage the US's reputation all around the world. They're going to hit growth. They're going to move up inflation. They're going to raise interest rates. And it's time to, and it's the second time in less than a decade that the US, in effect, has now ripped up trade agreements now with its closest trading partner. And that is worth bearing in mind, because as far as Trump has signaled with this, don't even bother signing a trade agreement with America, because you could get a insane, crazy Republican could just come along and just go, no, I'm just going to tear up this trade agreement. I don't care. Gone. What does that say about the US's international reputation? What does that say about the US international reputation? It means it's worth nothing. It means it is absolutely worth nothing. Nothing whatsoever. So we're expecting, like I say, EU tariffs possibly next week. We are probably going to get included in that in some way, shape, or form. Meanwhile, of course, the Mexican president, let me find out what she had to say on here somewhere. Let me just try and find her comment. No, I can't find her comments now. But she also said that Mexico is also not going to stand for this either. That Mexico has a plan to retaliate back. So things probably next week are going to get quite crazy. And expect when the stock markets open on Monday. Oh boy. It could be quite the roller coaster ride. On Monday. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. But oh boy, looks like it's going to be an interesting week. Looks like it could be a very interesting week next week. And I've already asked Graham, next week, can we just combine like stateside and geoscope with like just the stuff going on, just because there's just so much to talk about, and so much is because of what's happening in America. So I just feel that, like, we just need to, like, for like next week, just combine those shows just for like next week and do like a one-off. Like, we could call it Stateside Geoscope and Friends. Oh my word. Yeah, it's gonna get wild next week. It's really gonna get wild. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Hit the like, share, and of course the subscribe button if you're new. And of course, links down below to help support the channel. So as always, I'll see you all next week.